Oh, God. There we go. There we go.
Well,
All right.
okay.
How do I make it big? Okay, here we are. And this is the first one of 6 that I'm doing as a promotion for my 8-month family constellation class online. Teach people this work, and for also anyone who wants to do healing through this work that also happens when you take the class. Anyway, but no pressure. I'm not telling you have to take the class, Jonel. I'm just telling everyone else this is why I'm doing this. I am on a mission to get this work out to more people. I think it's really valuable. I think it could be very useful right now, seeing as the world is in a bit of a crazy place right now. But yeah, so here we go. So I'm just going to ask that everybody who is watching just have respect and kind of pull your energy back and be hold space in a way that you're witnessing. And we're not trying to fix you, Jonel. I'm not interested in fixing you. And I don't want anyone else to impose their will around, we're going to fix Jonel's problem. It's not about that at all. Okay. You understand, right? So I've worked with you before a lot, right?
Yeah.
Quite well, quite a bit. And I think, because I was trying to think this morning when we first started working, I think that was in 2018 or 19.
That sounds right.
Yeah. And then is it all right if I say this? Because there was that really dramatic, I'm not going to say the details of it, but there was that dramatic session. I think it was the first session we did
Yeah.
where the lightning came. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I was standing with my arms crossed, unsure. And then you're like, "Could you think you can let go?" And I looked out the window and watched lightning strike. And I was like, "Okay, I'm all right. I'm open."
Yeah, that boom. I mean, it came in the room because it was a storm and we couldn't work outside, so we worked indoors. And that, like, that's to me, that's how nature comes into the space. Even when you're inside, it can make its presence known. And the timing was just crazy. I
Unbelievable. I'll
mean,
never forget that.
yeah. But sometimes that's what it takes in a constellation to open. Sometimes there's some kind of intervention, that is shocking, that pulls us open. And I did feel you had an opening in that happened. That's the first time that I've ever experienced, by the way. Yeah. Anyway, so let's start this. So we're going to go to 9:40. I hope that's okay. And normally I do an hour, but we're going to get a lot done in this time frame. And especially because I've worked with you before and you're familiar with me and you're familiar with how I work. So, do you have an intention?
I do. And I can look to you to how we need to narrow it or not. But um, I, I'll tell everybody else, I grew up in a family that was pretty broken with parents that were very narcissistic and abusive, and neglecting myself and my needs and my body and things have been something I've carried a long time. And I could be pregnant right now. I'm working on becoming a mother, and I want to kind of address some of that and that care and that attention to me and my child, and kind of just let go of some of those patterns, more so than I have over the last few years. So if there's a better way to word that succinctly, I'm all ears.
Yeah, yeah. So you said let go of those patterns. So what patterns do you mean?
Of just kind of like, if I'm like, I grew up where if I was sick, I had to really prove it. And even then, I might not get attention, or um, just kind of neglecting those little needs that say, hey, I'm hungry, or I'm sick, or this hurts. Those level of just improving that level of care and attention to myself by example, and by extension, my child. So not silencing, not hitting snooze on needs, if you will.
Not hitting snooze on needs. In regards to your needs, because in the past your needs weren't met. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had to really make a fuss or make it a big deal to get any kind of attention when you were ill and things like that.
Yeah, like for example, I'm used to driving, if we are going to go to the doctor, being like, I hope it's something serious so I'm not in trouble, instead of like, I hope it's something no big deal, and that all of this is manageable. So kind of shifting into a space of self-love and protection.
Got it. So a space of self-love and protection. Yeah. How does that feel in your body right now?
I don't know, my body feels excited and eager for that, to be kind of more of the rule than the exception, to have that be more of an automatic response.
Self-love and protection being an automatic response.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Tune in there to that. Okay, so this is preparing, really like preparing yourself for motherhood, for your baby, for to automatically go into self-love and protection, right? Versus the old pattern of I don't know, how would you describe that in a word?
Neglect.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, neglect. Okay, I think that's pretty simple. I mean, as far as pretty clear.
Cool.
Yeah, I think so. I'm thinking we could do a tabletop for this. Have you done one before?
I have once, a couple times, yeah.
Okay, so you know how it goes, right? So I'm gonna ask you to pull things from your immediate environment in a way that, it's not so calculated. Like, I'm not so interested in if it's really beautiful or like so precious, I mean, basically, I don't want you to think about it too much. It's just kind of like intuitive, like instant. Okay. You understand, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great, great. And then the surface you showed me earlier, but that looks pretty good because I want something plain that I can see the objects on. So there might be times during it where I say, can you bring up the screen? I want to see your face or something like that. And we might transfer over into me going into a role or me having to look at your face.
Okay.
Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but okay. So let's start with you picking an object for you. Let's start with that. And if you want to bring the camera down now on the table so that I can see where you place it.
Got just kind of a bunch of random objects I grabbed right before. So
Okay, that's great.
does that work okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Um,
So
for me,
we're looking at something to represent you now, you, Jonel, with your intention now.
I went to the cowboy, but I want him to stand up. He doesn't stand up.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess, should I switch him out or should I go with the laying down cowboy?
That's really up to you.
I think I want to be standing up stronger than that. Okay. I've got this little person riding some sort of dragon.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So is it a mythological creature?
Yeah, it's got kind of a smile and a couple of eyes. I don't know how well you can see that. And then there's a person on top.
Okay, what's on the tail? There's something on the tail as well, right?
Looks like some kind of pirate flag, maybe.
Oh yeah, does that look like him or her?
Uh,
Looks
no,
like the face of the
no,
dragon.
it's got bigger ears and kind of a more pronounced jaw, so it's a little bit.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay. Did you say something about pirate?
Yeah, it looks like a little pirate flag.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. And so that little being on top,
Yeah,
do you identify with that more, or do you identify with the flying mythological creature?
I think the being.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. And good call on the cowboy, because in this work, when there's not stability, that really kind of mirrors where you're at.
Okay, well, yeah, that didn't feel right to me, so I'm glad we just moved on.
Yeah, and sometimes I might say, well, bring in a prop to have it stand up, but then that prop means something too,
No, but
you
my
know?
cat has opinions. Sorry.
Hey, that's okay. The kid is interested. Kid is interested. So let's look at that. So you're on a ride,
Yeah,
and are you holding on really tight?
I'm holding on and I'm leaning kind of forward into it, like it's a ready stance, I think.
Okay, ready. Got it. You're ready. And is the how does it feel to be on top of that being?
Exhilarating, free, kind of curious about where things are headed. It doesn't look like I'm very afraid to leave things behind, so I think that's promising. But I'm definitely still a little dependent on this guide, I guess, or whatever this is.
It has wings too, right? So yeah, you're kind of dependent on that. So how does that feel?
Um, Safe, maybe not fully independent, but um, maybe a little bit part of a bigger adventure. Um, it seems like I really trust this wry smiling creature.
Sorry, I forgot to record. Sorry, I forgot to record. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to recap for the recording, if that's okay, Janelle. So we're looking at you um, being self-love and care, protection and care, right?
Mhm.
Around you moving into motherhood. That's where you want to move into, correct?
Correct.
And because in the past you experienced extreme neglect. I say
Yeah.
it was pretty extreme for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now you want to move into this place where you are able to exercise self-care
Yeah.
for you and your baby.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that feels really exciting to you.
It does.
Yeah. Okay. And then and where we started, so I had you pick something for you, and you picked, first of all, you went for the cowboy, but the cowboy wouldn't stand up, and you decided to change it out for this flying mythological kind of dragon. It looks almost like a fish too to me, sort of.
A little bit of a porpoise, kind of.
Yeah. And then there's that little being on top, which you identified with, where it's kind of holding on, but leaning in and on the ready stance.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So got it. All right. So let's pick something for motherhood, because that's where you're moving into, right? That's where you want to move into.
Yes.
All right, let's pick something for motherhood. So this is you in motherhood.
Feels like motherhood, maybe.
Okay, great. Yeah, I love it.
Should I place it?
Yes, please.
Well, I feel like if we're adventuring toward this,
All right. So just explain what that is.
Um, I think it could be Cleopatra. It holds little incense cones. And it's got kind of a big bowl here that looks like almost like her legs are wrapping around here.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So it's kind of like a container, right? Like,
Yeah, a container, but like kind of the sense of guardianship with her hands kind of up over.
got it. Got it. And the first thing that came to me is that it's kind of like a landing pad.
I like that.
I mean, I want you to tell me what it's like for you, though. I don't want to put things in your head, you know.
Yeah, no, the way that I've laid it, it's not like a confrontation. It feels more like a bowl that this can kind of drop into.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and having the hit I just got is I was pregnant once earlier this year and it didn't work out. But while I was pregnant, it did feel like all of the cells of my body were taken over by something else, not just like a compartment, not just a piece of me, but all of me, my skin, my emotions, my bones, my joints, I mean, everything. So I don't know if this kind of polywog, like we were saying, is kind of riding and ready to kind of land in this bowl, because the shape of it, if you look on the way I laid it, looks like it could land in there, like you said.
Okay. So you're saying that you're not sure if it could land in it, or you're saying it could?
It looks like it's set up at the right shape for this to kind of just drop in to this protective bowl space.
Right. Right. I'm just wondering, does the being on top of it, does that disconnect from it, or is it like all one unit?
Uh, it feels like a partnership, maybe. Like these two are bonded, a bonded pair for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but I don't know if I end up shifting from this kind of littler person that's along for this wild adventure. And once this thing lands in the bowl, do I become the mother?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm seeing it. So if you're there too, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this really is your own process, you know? I always look at the movement and it's really good because your constellation is full of movement. I mean, the motherhood is pretty stationary and receptive. That's what I feel.
Yeah,
There's a receptivity around it because it's open and it has a place to land,
cool. Yeah, I like that. That feels right to me.
right? Whereas where you're at now, you're let me ask you this. Do you feel like we call it the polywog then? Do you want to call it that?
Sure.
Okay. Do you feel like the polywog is an extension of you, is part of you, or do you feel like it's another entity or another being or something?
I feel like both. Um, there's a strong connectedness. There's a feeling this is a part of me. I almost feel like this little pirate flag is kind of uh, that piece of family lines that, not everything was bad. Some of it was warrior like and strength and independence and optimism that didn't quit till I got somewhere safer in life. Like this is feels like a badge of honor that might be being passed to this polywog, like like a tribal sense in a way. Um, so it does feel like there's kind of a lineage connection as we dissect this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's totally dependent on lineage, right?
Yeah,
Like, you wouldn't be here without your ancestors or your parents, right?
yeah.
I love that though. I love the way that you describe that. Sort of like a badge of honor in a way. You didn't say a badge of honor. What did you say?
I think I might have said badge of honor.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
something that resonates the same to me.
Okay. Okay, good. So it could be something that is part of you, but then there's also this aspect that it could be another being.
Hmm.
Okay. So if it was another being, like who do you think it would be? Or it could be representing a group of people too. It doesn't have to be one, or it doesn't have to be people. It could also be a concept.
Yeah, I
And
think
sorry,
more. I think more like a group or a concept makes sense. Like over the last couple years since we started our work, and I've done some on my own and with some other people, I've felt a strong sense like my immediate parents, we don't speak, and that's every ounce of my body feels peace when that's the case, which is really confusing from a lineage standpoint. But I have felt my grandparents and great grandparents and lineage lines behind me saying, you know, sorry, they don't know what they did. We didn't know how we contributed to this, but you are so loved and you have strength and things to carry. And thanks for coming to do this work and meeting with us kind of vibes. So I feel like, go back to that pirate flag, there is like a tribal, like a unity sense. Um, we might be a little wild, but there's camaraderie, there's purpose in it somehow too.
so do you feel like that they could be your ancestors then?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that really, I got a good feeling around that when you said that. How does that sit in your body?
Kind of beautifully. I feel like my belly kind of dropped a little heavier into the chair over my hip bones, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier about them guiding you, right? Like it being a guide.
Yeah.
And I mean, have you been saying prayers to them? Like, what have you been doing to prepare for this? Have you been doing preparation? I mean, you don't have to tell me, but I feel like maybe you have, right?
I feel like whenever I do the four directions, I tend to call on them specifically. Um, and I go as far as to open my own heart and connection with them before I'm done with that. And sometimes, I'll do some guided meditations with the drum, kind of talking with them and checking in with them. Sometimes I feel strong answers, and sometimes it feels more of a hey, hello, maybe you're not home, leaving a voice message on a machine. But yeah, I think that we've been building some sort of connection relationship over the last couple of years.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, it's about you continuing the lineage, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Recently, I did a kind of session where I invited in my partner's ancestors. His dad passed away 15, 20 years ago, and felt a little wink back kind of thing. So checking in with the people that have our back, even if we don't necessarily have that immediate sense of support between us with our direct living parents, I really do feel like we've got the wind at our back when it comes to the lineage lines.
Great. Let's bring him in. Is that okay, your partner? It's
My
gonna,
partner, absolutely. Let's see. I don't know why, but this is it. Um, uh, he is a sense of joy. Like he really truly looks out for everyone, but he does it in a way that's not too oppressive or hard or whatever. Like he makes me laugh every day. So um, that might be an insult to the depth of his character, but here we are with these.
yeah. So place them somewhere.
Um, I'd say he's here. I'm gonna open these guys just a little bit. So
Okay. Who's watching the process?
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I feel like would it be okay to bring in the spirit of the baby that didn't make it in?
Yes. Um, let's see here. We've got a little egg that has some beautiful painted flowers on it. I
That's
thought about the
beautiful, yeah.
hummingbird, but the hummingbird is way too big. The hummingbird's huge.
Well,
Although,
we might have that coming later.
I was gonna say, I'm kind of, this feels undealt with, and I do feel like we really did kind of release that spirit and thank that spirit for everything it taught us and revealed about the strength of our relationship and all of that. Um, and maybe it joined our ancestors. So if it's okay to switch, I might go back to the hummingbird now.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Yeah,
Let's do that.
fine. Whatever it feels like.
Yeah. So um, I wish I could kind of suspend it above here, but I don't think that that's possible. So I'm going to kind of just stand it up there.
But the first thing that I see is that, you know, it has wings and you are on a winged, your ancestors have wings,
Yeah.
right? So there's a resonance there. Yeah. How does it feel with it there, with that being there, your baby?
It feels like there's a blessing, um, kind of. Sorry, he's
Okay,
like.
it's kind of interesting what the cat was doing. No, I'm serious. I'm like, if the cat does that again, let's see what the cat does.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because it got really interested when you brought that the baby in, yeah.
Yeah, um, but I do see kind of like a blessing, a guardian of this process a little bit. Um, it's kind of, I like the gold color. It's
Yeah.
almost angelic. um, and it seems to maybe be kind of helping push both Robbie, me, and our new hopeful fetus kind of forward. Like it's at our back, being like, "Yeah, you got this." Um,
Right. Right. Yeah, supportive and watchful too, right? Like it feels he's very close by.
and it's not weak. It looks
Uh,
strong and purpose and poise.
Definitely. Yeah, I see that. Definitely. I mean, it's the biggest on the table.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Bring in the baby that wants to come in.
Um, I wonder if maybe that's our egg.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, like the obvious place to put it to.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
I mean, it might be premature, but hey, let's do it where it belongs.
I was like, it's gotta go there. The
I
perfect.
too exact about, well, it's not quite, but that's exactly where it belongs.
But this feels like the process, right?
Yeah,
It feels that it's already in motherhood.
definitely.
Yeah. So this aspect of you that is motherhood, receptive, has awareness of self-care, love and self-care and protection.
Yeah.
And then you got your partner who's very watchful, like incredibly watchful. I mean, his eyes extend.
Yeah, he's kind of at the back a little bit of both, saying, how can I help with the comic relief that I cherish at the same time?
Yeah. How do you feel when you look at the whole constellation now?
You know, that I do have attentive love in my life already. Um, this might be the first time. And I think this, well, as it was sad at the time, the loss earlier this year really revealed the power um, of how much he really is there and supportive, with levity. Like, it doesn't feel oppressive to me at all, which is really, really important. Um, I mean, looking at this, it feels like things are in place. Like, I know there's this fear that I'll repeat what my mother and father were like, not realizing disabilities that I should have been caught at 6 until I was almost 40, Um, but like, the truth is right here, this looks like everything we need, kind of, you know?
But when you say kind of, like, what else? Is there anything else?
I think that's a really good question. I think it's a fear-based statement I just made. um,
Okay,
I,
so slow down, slow down. I'm just gonna say what you said. So you said it feels like this is everything we need, and then you went kind of,
yeah,
and
I
then
think there's a lack of, not a complete lack of trust. I mean, I think I've spoken about all of these pieces and themes as we laid them with confidence and appreciation, but um, because this is so new to me.
so please do that. Can you touch it?
Huh? Touch it?
Yeah, just touch touch. There you go, both. Yeah, and just drop in there. And you said because this is so new to me. Is it new to you?
Um, in some ways, I mean, it feels like I've always been aiming here, but having love and deciding to become a mother after doing a hell of a lot of healing work in the last number of years, I do feel ready or I wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
But not having that love and that support and that partnership, and that, I've been a fierce independent person my whole life, and like, really trusting this all to be here feels like more than I've ever had, even more than I dared to hope for, kind of, um
You're talking about your partner, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
um, and our life together, but not having had this before, there is kind of that sense of, well, this feels complete to me. Like, is it? Is anything missing? I feel like we're ready to go, and I like that I've grown more into trusting my bones and my gut to kind of lead that. But my brain still is, you know, scared that my mom, I'll be like her, Um, and I think that,
You mean as far as neglectful?
yeah, like, too self-absorbed to pay attention when it's necessary. Um, and I do feel like I've stepped from that wounded child space, but she does show
Okay.
up from time to time.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop you, pause, because there's something about your mother in this that I feel is important, in that your mother did it. Your mother brought in you
Yeah,
and your other siblings, right? I think you have other siblings,
there's
sister,
one other one that I share with my mom.
right? But the point being, because of this constellation and you wanting to move into motherhood, right? And this talk of like it's new and you're not sure if anything's missing, right? But you got the integral parts like We brought in your partner. We brought in what it would be like. We brought in the baby that wants to come in and the baby that didn't make it in, who's very big and alive and present in this. Yeah, support it.
Yeah.
And the this is where I feel is the connection to your mom is that your mom did it. And yeah, she wasn't necessarily the best mom on the planet, right?
Yeah.
By all means. But she did do it. And you were there. You're
Yeah.
here right now. Do you get that?
Yeah. Um,
How are you doing right now?
I got a big well up of feelings.
Yeah.
There's a lot in there, I think. But
I mean, there's the sorry if I interrupt him, but there's the sorrow that and grief that your mom wasn't the mom that you wanted, right?
yeah, she kind of treated me like an enemy, not somebody to care for.
Yeah, and you don't want to be like your mom in that you don't want to be like that with your child. Is
Right.
that right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that where you could be like your mom is that you can birth a baby.
Yes.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
So in saying that, I'm wondering what would happen if we did bring her in. And this is not to say that you have to call your mom or you have to make amends or anything like that, right? But it's really kind of like, well, do you want to check it out?
Sure.
Okay.
Um, let's see. My first hit was this giant mean alligator that's always kind of nipping at my heels. But I think this is more appropriate. I've been kind of imagining her energy in like a gerbil wheel for the last couple years. Like she can be a stormy cloud as she wants, but it's contained. There might still be poison in the center. So I've got a little scorpion inside of a like an epoxy cube.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
So place it somewhere. You place your mom somewhere.
I think she's kind of back here.
That feels so right on, Janelle. And do you see the resonance here? Shall I point it out to you or can you see it?
Well, there's a shape that's very similar to the journey of motherhood.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's not why I picked up the piece, but and it's writing kind of alongside.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
one was clearly stunted inside its little box.
But I mean, it's the same. It's a fly. It's a well. It's not. It's kind of has the similar vibe to the ancestors. What you're writing on.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Well, I think that this is kind of the journey of, I think I saw this as the new life I was letting in while I'm riding this through the journey of maybe pregnancy. The polywog showed me like the stage. It's not like a full dragon yet. It's still kind of in process of growing, and I'm riding that. That's kind of, and then
Yeah.
the ancestors are part of it.
Yeah.
So for this to be like the pregnant journey, oops,
Yeah.
for this to be kind of the pregnant journey, um, me along for the ride. I'm writing what looks like a pretty happy, determined soul in here.
Yeah.
But this as a whole unit is that kind of journey into motherhood. So even if she was kind of a poisonous creature, she was still on that journey into motherhood, as you called out.
Yeah. It looks very similar with the tail and everything. I mean, very similar. Like there's a resonance there. I would say definitely.
but it does look like her journey can't necessarily touch my journey. It might be the same shape, but it's not the same experience.
Right. But the resonance, like what I'm saying is like as a resource,
Yeah.
your mom did it
Yeah.
because that's what you want, right? You want to birth a baby, right?
Yeah.
And your mom did it
Yeah.
twice, not once, but twice.
And I don't think she ever had this either. I mean, to have a little compassion for her and the poison in there, um,
Right.
never had that.
Right. I mean, whether your mother is contained or, you know, like, or she's free to fly, to crawl around and sting, whatever, like your mother's there,
Yeah.
which validates you in your motherhood, in your journey of becoming a mother.
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Do you get
Yeah.
it?
I do. I do.
Okay, great. But you're your own being. You have great support and you're fully conscious around what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be the same as your upbringing. I mean, look how far you've come. You
Yeah.
have to give yourself credit. I mean, you've come a long way, Jonel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring the camera up if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So how are you doing?
Uh, I feel like we made peace with something big.
I feel like too, and you don't have to put it into words because I feel like it's almost like out of a language.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I would just let it permeate and do its blessings and do what it needs to do. But I feel that really was the missing part there.
Yeah.
All right, is it all right to end it here?
Yeah. I think it feels like it's got a bow on it. Thanks.
Yeah, it feels really beautiful, very sacred. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your experience and your process.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, you're welcome. So I want to close this constellation with you, Jonel. I'm going to bow to you and I'm going to leave it with you. That means that I'm not going to, talk about your process anymore.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to check in with you in 3 days, if that's okay. I'll send you a text or email, see how you're doing. All right.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank everybody who's been support from afar.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Anyone who's watching. Okay. I'm going to end it now. Okay.